that cannabis and consent can work together when done like that, with intention. I also encourage people, and we'll talk about this under pro tips, to negotiate before you medicate. So if you know that you are going to be using cannabis with your partner, figure out what you want to do in the scene before you start adding cannabis into the mix. So say, okay, like, here's what I'm feeling for tonight. And there's a really amazing TED Talk by a sex educator named Al Vernacchio, who talks about negotiating sex like ordering a pizza. So I might be like, okay, so I want to order a pizza. Arden, do you want to order a pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so what do you like on your pizza?
Sausage.
Sausage, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't love sausage. Could we do like half sausage?
Yeah.
Does that feel good? What else
That's
do you like on
fine.
your pizza?
Lots of cheese.
Love cheese. How do you feel about mushrooms?
Yeah.
Maybe half
Mushroom
mushrooms, half
neutral.
sausage? Mushroom neutral?
Yeah.
So you're like, okay. Onions?
No.
No, okay. So we'll put mushrooms and onions on one side, sausage and extra cheese on, or sausage on one side and extra cheese on all of it. Does that feel like a good plan? Are you feeling
Yeah.
extra hungry? Do you want like an extra large pizza or do you want like a medium pizza?
I'm good with medium.
Medium? Okay. All right, so we order our pizza. We figure out like how we're splitting the paycheck, the check to pay for it, and then the pizza gets here. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know what? I just had one slice and I'm like, not hungry for pizza anymore. I'm like, I enjoyed it, but I'm kind of done now. But you can have as much pizza as you want. So we just negotiated this thing where we're both a hell yes to exactly what's happening. We both had input. We both had like compromises where it was like, well, I like this. Oh, okay, I don't like this as much, but can we find a middle ground that everybody feels good about? And if you take that example of ordering a pizza and apply it to your sex life, amazing things can happen. Because suddenly, instead of just this very formulaic, like, we're gonna make out, and then we're gonna do a little like squeeze in, then a little rub in, then a little like this, penetrating, it's a very heteronormative, prescriptive way of having sex. It's very formulaic. Whereas, and then there's nothing wrong with that as such, if that's what you want. But if you acknowledge that it doesn't have to be that way, that there are other options, that you could use toys, or you could just make out, or you could just cuddle naked, or you could just have hand sex, or you could just perform oral, or receive oral, or give a back massage, or any other number of fun, sexy configurations that you can do with one or more people, all of a sudden you get to really figure out what you want and ask for it and then have it in some form or another, which feels a lot better to me than just being like, all right, we're gonna have sex tonight. Let's just do the thing that we always do. Does that make sense? So the reason that sex and cannabis go so well together is because, for one thing, THC is a vasodilator. Has anyone ever had their eyes get all bloodshot after smoking? That's why. Also, dry mouth. That thing that happens to a lot of people? Hydrate. So much water. Oh, before I forget, if you are ever in a situation where you feel like you are too high, CBD counteracts the effects of THC, the psychoactive effects, so it stretches out the high and brings you down a little bit. Also, black pepper. Either smelling or, if you're brave, chewing a couple of black peppercorns will actually bring you down. Right? I had no idea that was the case. Unfortunately, I hate black pepper, so that does nothing for me. Like, I can't even smell it. It just totally grosses me out. But if you don't have that problem, black pepper will bring you down if you're feeling too high. Cannabis is also good at kind of getting you out of your head and into your body. Sometimes it can get you into your head if you have a particular strain. So, like, keep an eye out for those strains, which is why I always say, if you're trying a new strain and you want to use it for sex, use it by yourself first and masturbate and see how it goes. Then move on to doing it with a partner. And the reason for that is just so you kind of eliminate a lot of the variables. You don't suddenly realize that, oh shit, this strain makes me fall asleep in 5 seconds. That's a good thing to know, like, as I have a cock in my mouth, and I'm like, that's never happened to me. No, of course not. Enhancing intimacy by creating rituals. Rituals are great. That's one thing that actually my friend Arden has taught me.
Oh, yay.
Creating rituals can be really fun. So what I mean by that is like, okay, let's say that you know that every Friday, perhaps, you and your partner like to celebrate the weekend by having a bowl together after you both get home from work. So creating a ritual around that might mean before they get home, if you happen to get home first, or whoever gets home first, you grind up the bud, you pack the bowl, you set it out, you set out the lighter, you set out maybe 2 glasses of water, and like you create this thing where you're like, okay, your partner comes home and like everything's all set up and waiting for them. I've had partners come over and like I've had the bowl packed, lighter in hand, and like a bottle of water ready to hand to them, and they've appreciated the thoughtfulness that went into having that available immediately. And so you can also do things around ritual, like every time we take a hit when we're about to have sex, we kiss and do a shotgun hit. So that's when you inhale, whoever inhales, the bong or the pipe, and then you exhale into the other person's mouth as they're inhaling. So that does 2 things. First of all, the person who is doing the inhaling from the piece should be the more experienced of the 2 partners, because by taking it into your lungs first, you are essentially diluting it. So if you have a partner who has a lower tolerance than you do, let them be the inhaling partner, and that can be a great way to share, and like you take most of the stuff and like they get just a little bit. So that's a fun thing to do. I really like to do. Giving infused massages. There are like massage oils that have THC and CBD in them. And so that's also a great thing if you have a partner who doesn't use but wants to be able to enjoy the effects of like a CBD. Like if they get drug tested and you use a CBD oil, you're cool because they're testing for THC. They're not testing for CBD when they're drug tested. So your partner can use CBD infused things as long as it's not a CBD THC thing. So like a high CBD strain still has THC in it, like Harlequin or Charlotte's Web. It's usually, Harlequin's 5-2, 5 parts CBD to 2 parts THC. But that could potentially pop on a drug test, but if it's just CBD, you're golden. So think about massages and things like that.
So
yeah.
Let me make sure I understand 2 questions.
Of course.
So CBD doesn't show up on drug test, it's
Correct.
just for THC. And I have a girlfriend who, pretty much, with the exception of some Jolly Ranchers that she liked and she cannot find anymore, edibles, every time she actually had tried cannabis, she overreacted. So one time she actually passed out and stopped breathing. And so she was like, she's extremely sensitive. So she's scared of it and she doesn't want to try it unless she finds a Jolly Ranchers.
Got it.
What did I want to ask you? So, if I find something that's CBD only, do you think, as far as like that kind of like overreactions and allergies, she would probably be safe, or is it hard to say?
I would say it's hard to say, but if you start with like a low dose CBD something, like just like a hit or a topical of some kind, start very, very small, like micro small, and then kind of see how it goes.
Okay. Because
you always, like, especially if they have such a severe reaction that like they stop breathing, like that's not something you want to fuck around with.
Exactly.
So
don't do that. That's the thing. I thought like with a massage oil, that's also hard to control the dosage. Thank you.
Of course. It's not doing the thing. That actually, oh good, it is. It's just not doing it on here. Yeah, I just thought that was kind of hot. Also, the dude in the bath smoking J, his dudeliness. I really, really like taking a hot bubble bath and smoking while I'm in there. It's one of my favorite ways to unwind. It's also a really nice way to do sexy fun times if you have a big tub. Like you can both get in there together, light some candles, pass a J back and forth or pass a bowl back and forth. It can be really fun. Pro tips. Always approach sex and cannabis with mindfulness and intention. Don't just get baked off your ass and be like, all right, baby, let's fuck. Especially with somebody who's new. I always suggest if you are going to be mixing sex and cannabis, do it with someone who you have been with previously when you are sober. And the reason for that is if you don't know your body and they don't know their body and how their bodies are either of your bodies are going to react to cannabis and sex, it's better to just experiment on your own before bringing together. And especially with new people, like, it's always better to have sex your first couple times sober, so you can just get to know your bodies without any kind of distractions. Negotiate before you medicate, but check in throughout to ensure that there is ongoing enthusiastic consent. So at my party, we had these signs posted around the property. It says, ask first, ask and get a verbal yes before touching. Thank you for your commitment, continued commitment to creating a respectful, consent-focused environment. And this was around the party to remind people that you don't just go up and hug people when you meet them. You say, hey, is it cool if I hug you? Is it cool if I kiss you? Is it cool if I touch you? And just because I said, yes, you can kiss me, doesn't mean that you can grope me, or doesn't mean that you can do anything else. Like, you're giving permission for each specific thing. So this is specifically for play parties, but I encourage you to kind of do that as an exercise with a partner, because it's good to check in throughout every step and be like, is this still cool for you? How's this working for you? And like, okay is really not a great baseline. You want them to be like, hell yeah, this is fantastic. Hydrate, 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 hydrate. I probably said that 50 times at my party. I had 9 cases of water with 40 in each thing, and I actually had too much water, but I was glad, because you want to have too much rather than not enough. Cannabis can dry out your mucosal membranes. That's why you get cotton mouth. That can, in some cases, not all cases, I have never had this particular issue, but for some people, it can cause dryness vaginally.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I call it cotton cunt.
Now I know what it's called.
Yeah. In those cases, I would encourage you to use a lube. Coconut oil makes a great lube. However, any oil is not compatible with latex. So if you are going to be using a coconut oil lube like this from SliQuid, which just came out, it's called SliQuid Soul. SliQuid, by the way, is an amazing, amazing company. Highly recommend all of their stuff, but this specifically is their brand new coconut oil lube. You can't use this with latex condoms. So use nitrile or use polyurethane. Polyisoprene condoms are also not compatible with latex. So you want polyurethane, or you want nitrile, or you want lambskin. The reason is oil degrades latex and makes it pop, and that is not helpful if you are trying to prevent pregnancy or STIs. So just don't. FC2, the internal condom, or as they call it, the female condom, that's how they're marketed, but they're really for anybody. They go inside the body, so they're internal condoms. They are nitrile. I love these, especially if you have a penetrating partner who either has a factory installed very thick cock or a strap-on very thick cock. This is great for those people because they're huge. Like, if somebody could ever not fit in this, I would assume that they are part horse. Centaur, yeah, exactly.
That guy once.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that happens. I also like to use silicone lube. The reason being, if you use water-based lube when you are having dryness, especially when you're thirsty or dehydrated, your body will actually take the water in the water-based lube and suck it up. And you are left with nothing but the tacky, sticky remains. So, water-based lube is not the best thing to use when you are using sex and cannabis. Silicone lube is a great option. Uber Lube is one of my favorites. SliQuid also has a silicone lube called SliQuid Silver. It's over there. Silicone lubes are great. This is another silicone lube that I really like. It's Pure Analyze Me. This is my favorite anal lube, hands down, ever, forever. It has jojoba oil in it, and it's amazing, and it's like got this really great texture that's like cushiony, that's great for anal. I also really like it for hand jobs. I'm a hand job queen. Love hand jobs. Experiment solo with new strains and methods to see how your body responds. We already talked about that. Lay down a towel or a liberator throw. This thing is fantastic, especially if you are someone who is prone to expelling bodily fluids in some way, squirting or otherwise, or just ejaculating a lot. This keeps your sheets from getting stained. Also, if you spill lube, if you are smoking a joint in bed and ash gets somewhere, this is great for everything. It's washable. As soon as you're done, you pull it off the bed, you throw it in the laundry, and you have completely clean sheets. Love, love Liberator throws.
And it's really soft.
And it's very soft. Yeah, I
feels
love
great
it.
when you're stoned.
It does.
You're like,
Mm.
ooh.
I get so tactile when I'm high. Like, I want all of the soft, like, feathery, velvety fabrics, like, all over me. It feels amazing. Give feedback if you're getting your head, or your foot's asleep, or you're having the time of your life. Let your partner know. It's really important to not get silent. Typically, when you're high, you get more talkative. At least I do. Anybody else get a little more talkative when they're high? Sometimes you don't, but sometimes you do. And so if you are talkative, then you're probably good. But if you're not talkative, make sure that you're checking in, you're sharing your experience in real time, like, oh, that feels really good, or ow, ow, you're on my hair. All of that information is really important to have. We talked about Foria a little bit. That's actually my bedside table. It's liquid silver, Foria, the Pure Wand. That's like the Holy Trinity. The Pure Wand is amazing. If you're not familiar with it, it is ideally suited to G-spot and prostate stimulation because of the curve. It's heavy. It's made of stainless steel. You can play with temperature. You can warm it under warm water. You can cool it down under cool water. Notice I said warm and cool, not hot and cold. Don't put this in the freezer. Don't put this under boiling water. Bad idea. I definitely have never done that. Freezer. Oh man. Tongue, flagpole, not a good thing, okay? Like, just don't. Just don't. Learn from my mistakes. This was my Valentine's Day gift to one of my lovers. I made him cookies. I gave him a gram of my favorite strain. And I gave him a whole shit ton of internal condoms, which is the only kind of condom that we use. And he was the happiest kid in town. He was absolutely beside himself that, like, he would have something to smoke, something to eat when he got munchies, and then something to fuck me with. Like, this was, he hit the trifecta on that one. And that was cool to be able to create that for him. And to be able to be like, all right, you know, I was thinking about you. I knew that you were going to get hungry. You're going to get munchies. It's important. Like, if you've seen Beauty and the Beast, when they're doing the Be Our Guest scene and, like, the food's dancing in front of you, that's totally me when I'm high and I have munchies. I'm like, why is the food not dancing?